I'm Katrina Rene Miller, and in today's Icon segment, we'll be profiling boxing legend Marvin Hagler. Hagler held the middleweight crown from September of 1980 to April of 1987 when he lost a split decision to Sugar Ray Leonard. We'll be focusing on Hagler's championship years today. Hagler's first title shot came in November of 1979 against then-champion Vito Antuofermo. Hagler took the lead early, but then in the second half of the fight decided to play it safe. This allowed Antuofermo to close the gap and the fight to the surprise of many, which was ruled a draw. Antuofermo retained his title. Antuofermo lost his crown to British boxer Alan Minter, and in September of 1980, Hagler got another shot at the title. Minter was prone to cuts, and this time Hagler didn't fool around, slashing Minter's face open with his jab and vicious punch combos until the fight was stopped in the third round. Hagler was officially middleweight champion. The British fans weren't happy about this, and a riot broke out in the arena. Hagler and his team were pelted with bottles and glasses and had to be escorted to their dressing room by a throng of policemen. Hagler would prove to be an A-plus champion, stopping almost all of his opponents by knockout or technical knockout. Let's take a look at some of his more notable defenses. In June of 1981, Hagler fought a rematch with Vito Antuofermo. This time, he stopped Antuofermo in 4 rounds by TKO, or technical knockout, in front of a hometown Boston crowd. In October of 1981, Syrian-born Mustafa Hamsho fought Hagler for the belt. Hamsho proved to be a durable challenger, going 11 tough rounds before being stopped by the champion. In November of 1983, Hagler won a razor-thin decision over Roberto Duran. Duran was ahead on 2 of the judges' scorecards at the end of the 13th round, but Hagler, his left eye swollen shut, gutted it out in the last 2 rounds to retain his crown. It was said after the fight that Hagler showed Duran too much respect. In March of '84, Hagler fought Juan Roldan, a dangerous Argentinian brawler and the only boxer ever to knock Hagler down. This happened in the first round with much protest from Hagler, who claimed he was pushed. Hagler was angered by the knockdown and proceeded to give Roldan a merciless beating before the fight was stopped in the 10th round. In October of '84, Hagler fought a rematch with Mustafa Hamsho at Madison Square Garden. In the second round, Hamsho intentionally headbutted Hagler 3 times. These dirty tactics angered Hagler, who unleashed an all-out assault on Hamsho before the fight was stopped in the 3rd round. Commenting on the beating he gave Hamsho, Hagler said, "The only difference between street fighting and boxing is that there's a ref in there to stop me from killing you." Hagler's final 3 defenses would be the most pivotal of his career. In May of 1985, he fought 4-division champion Tommy the Hitman Hearns in a fight billed simply as The War, which is exactly what it ended up being. The fight, and the first round in particular, is considered to be one of the greatest of all time. Hearns had just destroyed Roberto Duran the year before, a knockout so brutal that Duran went down face first. The first round of Hagler-Hearns was furious, with both fighters throwing caution to the wind. By the second round, Hagler started to take the lead, but was also cut over his eye either from a punch or head clash. By the 3rd round, Hearns had slowed down, allowing Hagler to land clean power shots and send Hearns to the deck. Referee Richard Steele stopped the fight. Following the fight, Hearns' world-renowned trainer Emmanuel Stewart would say Hearns was doomed pretty much from the get-go. Tommy broke his right hand at the end of the first round. As if that wasn't bad enough, Stewart went to Tommy's hotel room a few hours before the fight and saw one of Tommy's friends massaging his legs. He went crazy. That's something you do after the fight. Stewart felt Hearns got tired and weaker much earlier than he would have because of this. None of this takes away from Hagler's impressive performance, though. He took some vicious shots from the Hitman and stood his ground. Hagler's second-to-last title defense came in of March 1986 against Olympic silver medalist John Mugabe. This fight would prove to be Hagler's toughest to date. 5 years earlier, this probably wouldn't have been quite as exciting as a fight as it ended up being, but Hagler had slipped a notch or 2 by this point. He was no longer the slick, fast-fisted boxer puncher he had been previously. He was slower, easier to hit, and looked like more of a brawler now, relying almost completely on his punching power. The fight went 11 brutal rounds, and Mugabe had plenty of great moments, but ultimately Hagler prevailed, finally KOing Mugabe in the 11th. Sugar Ray Leonard was sitting ringside for this fight, and he saw the writing on the wall. He decided to come out of retirement and fight Hagler. One of Hagler's most famous quotes was, "It's hard to get up and run at 5 in the morning when you're sleeping in silk pajamas." Well, that quote might have turned into a self-fulfilling prophecy. Hagler's fight with Sugar Ray Leonard will be debated about until the end of time. There are more polarizing opinions on who really won this fight than any other fight in history. From the time the fight was announced, it seemed that Leonard had the edge. The Hagler camp conceded to a smaller ring, thicker gloves, and a 12-round instead of 15-round fight. All of this worked to Leonard's advantage. As far as Hagler's 3 middleweight titles, the WBA stripped him of their belt for facing Leonard instead of their mandatory challenger, and the IBF refused to sanction the fight. This left only the WC belt at stake. The fight was basically puncher versus flashy boxer. Hagler started the fight in orthodox stance instead of southpaw, which in boxing means lefty. This worked to his disadvantage and cost him the first 2 rounds. Terrible decision. After switching to southpaw in round 3, he began to connect effectively with his punches and rocked Leonard more than a few times. Was Leonard quicker and did he land more blows? Yes, but a lot of this was an illusion and he also got a lot of breaks. Leonard did a lot of showboating to win over the crowd and would also throw flurries of punches at the end of every round to steal those rounds on the judges' scorecards. Leonard was also warned 30 times for holding by Richard Steele without 1 point being taken away. When the decision was announced, 1 judge scored the fight for Hagler and the 2 others scored it for Leonard, meaning Leonard won the fight by split decision and was crowned new middleweight champion. If Leonard appropriately had a point or 2 taken away from him for holding, Hagler could have won the fight by a draw or a split decision. And there was the 1 judge who still scored the fight 115 to 113 in his favor regardless. Hagler held out 14 months for Leonard to give him a rematch. When this never materialized, he retired in 1988. Then, in 1990, after Hagler had been retired for 2 years, Leonard called him in the middle of the night and asked him if he still wanted this rematch. Hagler supposedly said 2 words to him and hung up, and those 2 words weren't thank you. Hagler would retire to Italy and star in a number of action films and westerns, one of the few fighters to never come out of retirement. After being taken to the hospital for chest pains and trouble breathing on March 13th of this year, Marvin Hagler died at his home in New Hampshire. He was 66 years old. Boxing fans worldwide were devastated by his sudden, premature, and unexpected passing. There's been a lot of speculation about the cause of his death, but that's useless now. We should remember the positive things and all the great memories he gave us. Our director, Chris, boxed as an amateur and was hit particularly hard by this, writing in an Instagram post that Hagler will always be with him in heart and mind. Former heavyweight champion Larry Holmes called Hagler's death a tragedy, and Mike Tyson said, "Hagler was a true warrior who will be missed." That'll do it for this segment of Icons. If you enjoyed our content, be sure and hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. For Dopamine, I'm Katrina Rene Miller. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Dopamine Nation. And until next time, stay strong and fight the good fight.